This is Cruise Control.
Your on-air automotive magazine with co-hosts Fred Staub and Les Jackson. Everything you need to know about new and used cars. Industry news. We'll fix or repair your car on the air. Fasten your seatbelts and let us take the wheel. Now, your ride is about to begin. Because you're on Cruise Control. Cruise Control. Cruise Control.
That's right, your ride is about to begin. It's, well, just started, really. Hi, I'm Fred Staub, and welcome to Cruise Control, your on-air automotive magazine. We got 2 hours, or 1 hour, of great information for you about vehicles. If you're buying a new vehicle, if you're just interested in what's coming out, new technology, and more. Along for the ride, as always, is Les Jackson, my cohort in this madness that we call Cruise Control. Les, how you doing?
Exactly. Good, good. You're at the wheel this hour, and we're heading in that direction.
In that direction. That's navigation talk, man.
Well, that's right. One day we should actually turn on the nav system, but it doesn't matter because what we do have is a whole list of stories that we're going to cover this hour. And one of them is all about pricing pickup trucks.
That's right. Yep.
Which is, I'm afraid to look.
Yeah, we're talking Nissan Titan. They've got some pricing coming out. We're also going to tell you about Toyota remaining as the #1 auto manufacturing company, breaking GM's 90-year record. So GM is no longer the biggest, and Toyota is just kind of building on this. They're staying at #1 month after month.
That's right. Just slow and steady. And we have safety, interesting safety piece. Some automatic braking systems work better at night.
Yeah, and it's unclear why that is. So the IIHS, Insurance Institute for Highway Safety, is looking into this. We'll tell you what they found so far. And we've updated one of the most popular lists that we get a lot of comments about, and that is vehicles that cost more used than new. Hard to believe, but this has become a thing.
More and more.
Yes.
More and more.
So if you're out buying a vehicle, Les, you don't want to buy the used one if you could get a new one for less.
That's right. Get a new one. If you can get the dealer to sell it to you without being gouged.
Yes.
Meanwhile, we're going to talk tech this hour. We love doing that. In this case, this is something we've been talking about for a long time, speculating about a road that can charge your car's battery.
It's happening.
Inductive charging.
Happening in the U.S., yeah, and I'll have a review of this vehicle. That is the Volkswagen Mark 8 GTI Autobahn Edition when we get rolling on this edition of Cruise Control, your on-air automotive magazine. Did I like it, Les? Well, we will find out. It is one of my favorite vehicles.
Yes, we will.
A lot of people like the Miata. I would fall into the GTI camp, but let's see what happens during that At the Wheel review on Cruise Control, your on-air automotive magazine. Be right back.
Cruise Control.
Hey, welcome back to Cruise Control. Fred's over there warming up his review for later, and I get to, well, he already announced it, but I get to re-announce. That's it. Yeah, I get to re-announce that Toyota is now the world's largest automaker. And good for them. You know, they're a great company, and they have finally gone past General Motors' 90-year straight level of the biggest motor company. They are no more. Now they're number 2, which isn't exactly shabby.
Right, that's true.
But Toyota's number 1. I think they'll stay there.
Well, I think they will. Let's face it, though, they were helped by the fact that they navigated the chip shortage better than most companies. Their worldwide sales for 2021 were 10.496 million, which is an increase of 10.1%, and that includes Daihatsu and Hino brands. Without those, the global sales increased by 10.6% over the course of last year. Volkswagen saw a 4.5% decrease. As you said, this is the first time in 9 decades that GM has not been on top. They just saw this coming, and that's part of business, reading what the business conditions will be when you have GM with people raising their hands and saying, I want to buy that Tahoe, and you're like, I'd love you to buy it, but I can't build it because it's, sitting on the side there 70% complete waiting on parts. That's got to be frustrating.
And when we do build it, you're not going to have some of the components that you thought you would.
Yeah, but we'll give you $50 or something.
Yeah, like seat heaters and
backup warning system.
Backup camera. Well, no.
Yeah,
anyway.
It will just be a bunch of wiring harnesses hanging from the bottom of the dash.
We're gonna give you a little do-it-yourself kit with it.
Yeah. They give you a sock heater or a hand heater and say, sit this on the seat. Yeah. So big news. We'll follow this story on Cruise Control, see if it continues, But let's look over at Nissan and what they're doing with pricing the 2022 Titan pickup. Not the biggest player in pickups, but certainly great vehicles made in the U.S., right?
Yep.
And let's take a look at some of their pricing. It starts the Titan S King Cab 4x2, $38,010. And the SV King Cab goes up to $43,340. The Titan S King Cab, which is not as well equipped, is $41,270, and the SV is at $46,600. Now, when you get into the base level crew cab, the S 4x4, that is 42,000.
4x2.
No, 4x4 is 42,940.
Oh, sorry. Okay.
Yeah. And the SV crew cab is at 4x4 is 46,420. Then you really start to climb because you can get
but even before it climbs, the fact is, as pickup trucks go, full-size pickups, these are, I think, bargain prices compared to the other people.
I think so. Why is that? Is it that they're just not as popular, or
maybe? They're certainly as capable. They're just, they're just not. They're a relatively late player in the game, and you're up against the world leaders.
Yeah, the best-selling vehicle in North America, the F-150.
Yeah.
So the SV Crew Cab 4x4, $46,420. The Titan Pro 4X, $50,900. And the top of the pile, Platinum Reserve. Let's see. Do they have they don't have that listed. Yes, they do. 4x4, $59,980. Now, they also have the extra duty models, which are their heavy duty models. The S Crew Cab 4x4, $45,580. SV version of that, $49,360. And then if you want to go all the way to the top, the Platinum Reserve Crew Cab XD, $63,040. So a little bit of pricing information there.
Yeah, but for heavy duty, those are about $20,000 cheaper than the other guys.
Yeah, interesting. So if you're looking for a deal on a pickup truck, could be time to check out the Titan. Hey, I'm Fred Staub. He is Les Jackson. We will be right back on Cruise Control, your on-air automotive magazine.
Cruise Control.
Welcome back to Cruise Control. We just about covered the Titan's pricing. Fred,
Someone,
you had another couple points to make?
Yeah, one of our listeners asked what engines are available in the Titan because, Toyota has hybrid drivetrains and V6s, and of course, Ford has every engine under the sun. Mm-hmm. While they used to offer a Cummins diesel, now the only engine available is the 5.6-liter Endurance V8 with 400 horsepower, 413 pound-feet of torque, and the only transmission is a 9-speed automatic. So keeping it simple, keeping it basic, keeping the cost down. You're right. I mean, if you want a heavy-duty version of this, the S Crew Cab 4x4 for $45,580 is not bad. If you want a truck to do some construction work or whatever, it's not bad at all, is it?
No, not at all. And again, Nissan makes very reliable vehicles.
Mm-hmm.
So if I had to buy a pickup truck today, the only thing really driving me would be price, and I'd go after the Nissan.
Yeah. Something to look at if you're considering a full-size truck. Let's do some safety tech, shall we? You and I talk about automatic braking a lot, don't we?
Well, we do. It's getting better and better and more common on vehicles, which it should be.
Sensors run the gamut from something like the eyesight system in the Subaru, which is two cameras on either side of the rear view mirror. Cameras point outward. To radar sensors, which were more common.
To LiDAR, right?
Yeah, to now infrared sensors at nighttime. And the IIHS, or Insurance Institute for Highway Safety, found that nearly 90% of 2021 vehicle models decreased the odds of a pedestrian crash by about a third on well-lit roads. But how do they fare at nighttime, Les Jackson?
Well, they seem to make little difference on dark roads. And I guess I'm not terribly surprised at this, because infrared sensors work, but they're not picking things up in an urgent way. It's the only way I could.
Yeah. Well, most pedestrian crashes happen during the day. Somebody runs in front of your vehicle or whatever, but the fatalities happen at night, and that makes sense. I mean, I always wonder when people are crossing the street at night and they're wearing a black coat and a hat, and that, you mean, really, you should wear a safety vest because you can't see people at night.
I actually know the statistic from National Highway Traffic Safety. It's 72% of all pedestrian deaths occur at night, not at crosswalks.
Because people are jaywalking?
Yeah.
Okay. And if you have on a dark coat and hat and
you don't see them.
You don't see them, and they're just a shadow. And by the time you see them, you have to react, and that's the problem these systems have. So they're trying to establish, the IIHS, a standard for these systems, and they're trying to find a way to evaluate them properly. And they really haven't found what combination of sensors are the most effective, but they want to put this into their ratings, so manufacturers will address this. And I think they do it the best way possible, IIHS. Instead of forcing manufacturers to do this, they're like, look, we're going to evaluate your peers and see how you do compared to them, and come up with a fair test, and then you can meet that standard and develop the vehicles so they are better. And I think that's a great way to do it. And then, you know what? When you're rated well, it's just another crowing point when you sell it. Yeah. When you go to sell your vehicle or go to market your vehicle. They found interesting high beam lights did not significantly affect the vehicle's performance. Wasn't about that. The Honda CHR and Bronco Sport use a combination of cameras and radar. They were the best performers in both tests. And Honda CR-V performed poorly. Doesn't really say why or what they did. And the Volkswagen Taos, which uses radar only, so the least change in performance between daylight and nighttime tests. But its daylight performance was the worst of all vehicles tested. So that's not good if they say
that doesn't.
You're the worst both day or night.
That's right.
So
that's right.
So really, it will be interesting to see how they develop this test for this, and what the sensors are. I find, especially in the sloppy weather we've been having on the East Coast, don't you get messages that your radar detection is
Yep.
not functional all the time, with
Yeah,
slop coming up on it.
that's right. It gets saturated with spray
Snow,
and snow, fog.
salt.
Uh, so it just, rightfully so, it turns itself off and says, "Hey, this is not currently in use."
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, well, let's get to the story. We didn't get to it last hour, and we'll start the story before the break. Do you know, according to the AAA, U.S. drivers are spending $3 billion a year fixing pothole damage? Let's face it, the trend is bigger wheels, shorter sidewalls means more wheel damage, more blown tires, blowing them right off the rim, basically, right?
Absolutely. That's yet another downside of low profile tires.
Yeah.
Um,
Now, there's a group called the Clunker Junker, and they've done some analysis on the worst areas for potholes. Number 1 through 10. Number 10 is New York. Pennsylvania.
Sure.
Tennessee.
Don't understand that.
Illinois, always known for bad roads, right?
Always.
Massachusetts. Ohio is number 5.
Yep.
Nebraska is number 4.
Again, makes sense.
Michigan, always known as bad roads. And Indiana is number 2. And then number 1 is Washington State, not Washington, D.C.
Let me tell you, Washington, D.C. doesn't exactly ring a lot of bells for good road surfaces in the winter.
Well, our engineer Patrick would be glad to know that Washington is the number 1 state. Yakima number 1, Spokane 3, and Seattle number 5. Those are the big cities with the worst roads. Honorable mentions include Colorado, Vermont, Reno, Nevada, and you don't even make the list in here, Les. No, Washington, D.C. at all. You don't.
No.
You don't even rate.
I'm filing a protest.
Yeah. I know. I get to learn where the worst is when you're driving at night and you can't see these things, and then it goes to full extension on the suspension. Boom.
Yeah, you get that horrible bang.
Yeah, I hate that, and I always think now, that didn't do something that was that good. And then you learn where they are and you avoid them, and then it becomes like autocross.
Yeah.
People avoiding them.
Then you get a ticket for swerving.
Yeah, but some of them are huge craters. I always wondered why plows couldn't have wheels on them, because you don't have to take every last bit of snow off the ground especially if you're putting salt down. If they had little like landing gear wheels, they wouldn't catch the edge of patches and just tear out big chunks. But hey, we'll be right back with Cruise Control. Plenty more to go. We've got that updated list of cars that are more expensive to buy used than new. Stay tuned to Cruise Control.
Cruise Control.
Welcome back to Cruise Control. Hey, we're, we keep having to tell people about this, and it's getting worse, not better. When it comes to buying a car, a vehicle,
Yeah.
the used vehicles are frequently more expensive than the new.
Yeah. Yeah, it's true.
Now, I don't know if those who keep these records are counting just the MSRP of the new one or the full transaction price, which is considerably higher.
Well, this comes from IC Cars. We talked about this before, and they've gone back and updated it because I think there's a lot of interest in it. And I guess, you can look at it two ways. One, if you go to buy a new vehicle, or you say, I want a used vehicle, and if the new one is less expensive, okay, you go for the new one. But also, you think about it, it's a good little factor to have in your head. If you can buy a car, use it for a couple of years, and sell it for more than you paid for it, that's a pretty good deal right there, right?
Yeah, but of course that was never the case until the last 2 years.
Yeah. So let's take a look at this, and it's pretty surprising because some of these vehicles are very expensive, and some of these vehicles are not very expensive. So let's talk about it. This is the top 15 used cars that are more expensive than new. Mercedes G-Class, the G-Wagon. If you buy that used, you'll pay 35.6% more.
That's crazy.
Now, you brought this up earlier. Is that including dealer market adjustment?
I doubt that it is.
Okay.
But even so, if you're looking at a brand new Mercedes G-Class and
the boxy,
there's
boxy G-Wagon, the old military
which,
vehicle.
by the way, I think is a stupid vehicle price-wise. There is no justification that those things are so expensive. It's basically a $50,000 SUV, and you're paying another $60,000 for that Mercedes Star.
Okay.
But anyway, why would you, if the used one, a year old, is the same or more than the new one, why would you buy the used one?
Especially in that case, because that vehicle has not changed all that much. It's changed on the inside, but in the last couple of years, Now, this next one on the list, Chevy Corvette, 20.2% more used. As you know, the C8 Corvette has become a bit of a cottage industry. People buy them and they flip them.
Yep.
Because they can't get them.
That's right. If you're waiting for one and you really want it and you can't get it, you're going to be willing to pay more for a guy that's got one and he's willing to sell it.
So in that case, the used price is $16,645 more than a new one. And you don't get to pick your color and your options.
No.
Tesla Model 3, 17.8% more used, which works up to about $8,300 more. But you don't have to wait. But don't buy an early one because they were not put together that way.
No. Well, the wood, the thumbtacks and wood inside, has termites.
The zip ties may have worn through.
We're not exaggerating.
No,
here.
they put zip ties and wood moldings to hold some kind of electrical component that looked rather heavy. They just went down and went all Home Depot on it. Not that it's bad to do a Home Depot repair, but not when you're using that should be mounted on rubber and screwed in with some bracketry, right?
That's exactly right. And then the Ford Bronco Sport. Well, I understand that. It's
Hot.
16%.
Hot, and we're
Yeah.
not talking about the full-size Bronco. We're talking about the Bronco
No.
Sport.
If you want one, somebody will give it to you for more money.
And here's one of my favorite vehicles, but, built in Korea, great little vehicle, really well equipped for the price, the Chevy Trailblazer. This is a great little crossover.
Yeah.
It's got everything in it. It kind of takes a page from Kia. They give you, at the upper level, heated steering wheel, heated seats, everything, right? But
Absolutely.
But 15.6% more used, or about $4,270 more used. Isn't that crazy?
It is crazy. As is the Toyota RAV4. Again, most of this is because you can get them.
Right. So 14.8%
14.8, 5,200. But then the Chevy Suburban.
Yeah.
That's a bit of a surprise.
Well, remember, they couldn't put these things together because of the chip shortage. And you can't get what you want. Maybe you want a certain color, a certain trim. You can buy it used for 12.9% or $9,106 more than a new one. This is the IC Cars list. The most expensive, more expensive than new. Used vehicles more expensive than new. Number 8, Toyota Tacoma. Hold their value. Big time.
They do.
12.2% more for used. I don't get this one, Toyota CHR. I don't get that vehicle. I drove it
I
once.
don't either.
I didn't like it. I just didn't think it had anything appealing to me, but that also will cost you 12.2% more used. This one I understand completely. The big hitter from Kia. Kia Telluride, 12.1% more.
You can't get one new.
Can't get them. Interesting, this week I saw 2 Tellurides, both dealers with dealers' plates. They were not the top of the range vehicle. They had much smaller wheels. They did not look as well equipped. Normally, you only see those things completely tricked. Kia Rio, Les. A Kia Rio
I don't
cost
get it.
you $2,090 more used than new.
Don't get it.
Why wouldn't you buy that new? Subaru Crosstrek. Have a friend that just bought one of these. He paid almost the price of a new vehicle for one that had 20,000 miles on it. I believe it was that he said. Just can't get them. GMC Yukon, 11.3% more used, or almost $8,300 more. Hyundai Accent, 11% more.
I get like the Kia Rio. I don't get it.
Yeah. Comes from IC Cars, by the way. iccars.com, this study about used cars costing more. I guess, it's just a weird supply and demand thing.
We live in a strange age.
Yeah, and that's why we hope if you listen to this show, we give you a little bit of a prep before you go into the dealer, because you're going to be like, I don't understand. There's a used one and it costs $3,000 more than a new one. And then, the dealer said, well, that's not the price. It's $5,000 more. And
that's right.
Here come the hijinks, Here come the shenanigans.
Yeah.
So
the dealers, again, the dealer network in the United States is making greater profits than it ever has in its history.
Yeah.
Including after World War II.
Yeah.
But it's also showing off their bad side.
Yeah. Well, it certainly doesn't want to make me buy a new vehicle or go anywhere near it until this all squares away. And that would be my advice. There's a lot of new vehicles coming online. Wait them out, If
I had to go into a dealer and buy a car, I would take a banana cream pie with me and find the owner and hit him in the face with it.
Well, that would be a great way to get a good deal.
Yep.
So, hey, we also should get to this talk and text story. We'll do it real quick. Battery charging road coming to Michigan. The first wireless EV charging road system in the country will be built near Michigan Central Station by an Israeli startup called Electrion. Mile-long stretch will be designed to charge vehicles wirelessly as they go down the road. It's going to cost $1.9 million. Interesting research there, but when we come back, I'm going to have an at-the-wheel review of the brand new Mark 8 Volkswagen GTI Autobahn Edition. So stay tuned to Cruise Control, your on-air automotive magazine.
Control.
And welcome back to Cruise Control, your on-air automotive magazine. I'm Fred Staub. He is Les Jackson. We are going to have a review this week of an at-the-wheel review of the brand new Volkswagen GTI Mark 8. This one that I had was the Autobahn edition, which is the top of the range. Of course, the Mark 8 is all new, a new platform for the vehicle, new on the outside and on the inside. I have to say, the GTI is one of my most favorite vehicles. I think you do feel like you're on the Autobahn when you're driving this vehicle. It feels very European. It, of course, started the hot hatch trend, which I think is a fun trend. It's a very utilitarian car. It has a hatchback in the back. You're able to load up your groceries, as we did, and you're able to have fun. It gets great fuel economy, 34 miles to the gallon, but it feels very, very sporty. This reconfigured sport suspension, along with the standard torque sensing limited slip diff, you get that on all the models, the S, the SE, and the Autobahn edition. It really feels good on the road. They've really put it together. Of course, this is the first year now that U.S. sold Mark 8s, first year in a long time. The Mark 8s are built in Wolfsburg, Germany. And it is a quality-feeling vehicle, just very well screwed together. The EA888 2-liter engine has been upped about 20-some-odd horsepower. It now produces 241 horsepower, 273 pound-feet of torque. You can get it with either a 6-speed manual, which is what we had, or a 7-speed DSG transmission. Now, I think it's mostly good. I have to say, when I was really anticipating this loan of this vehicle, I was thinking maybe I don't like the front end on it. You know, it's got those 5 lights on the front, those 5 little LED fog lights. It's a little bit strange. The opening below the bumper is a little bit bigger. I thought, well, maybe I don't know if I'll like that. But I did like that on the outside. It has a light across the front, I believe, which is an option, a kind of a light bar that goes right across the lower edge of the grill or the hood. I thought that looked pretty cool. And then I got to the inside of the vehicle. So they call this an all-new electronic architecture that enhances the interior with a standard 10.25-inch digital Cockpit Pro touch interfaces. That's not one of them. That's a really kind of cheap 12-volt outlet. I got it. You were going to say?
Well, it just looks a bit Spartan.
Well, here's the reason for this, and I think this really disappointed me. They have removed virtually every knob. The only knob I could find on the inside was the knob for the rear view mirror, which kind of is a carryover, right? They've removed every knob, virtually every physical button from the inside of the vehicle, and made it one of the most confusing vehicles to drive. The interior,
Great.
By the way, I got into this vehicle and it was nighttime. I could not figure out how to work it. There are a few, all buttons are haptic. There's no real traditional button. For some reason, they thought over on the left-hand side of the dash, it was a great idea to put the defroster button over by the headlight button. Like, let's reinvent the wheel. So every time you went to turn on the defroster, you would turn off the headlights. Or you wanted to turn on the defroster, but you put on the fog lights by mistake. The touch, since everything is touch screen, there are no buttons to adjust the level, the heating, the temperature of the heating, and things like heated seats and things like that. Everything is a haptic control. It takes at least 2 presses. It's confusingly, they show a graphic for the heated seats. You think that is the control for you hit that, and then it opens up another menu where you have to hit the button twice to get the heated seats to turn on.
Nothing says auto safety more than confusing controls.
Yeah, confusing controls.
Yep.
I don't know why it was done. I don't know why it was thought that this was a good thing, but that's what they've done. Everything is touchscreen. There's 4 buttons under the touchscreen that do a couple of different things. Climate. Some of the climate controls are on the right. Others are on the left. All the buttons on the steering wheel are haptic. They take multiple pushes. And then there's the lighting in the inside. There's barely any light in this thing. I like a light on the shift, either on the shift knob or over it. Completely dark. I turn the lights all the way up, and it's got some nice indirect lighting on the doors. But this thing is dark when you get in to drive it. It is not user-friendly. One of the other reviewers I found on the web said it well. Didn't they learn their lesson from Honda? Remember, Honda said, we're going to redo the Civic and get rid of all knobs. Then there was an emergency redo 6 months later to put a volume and a tuning knob on the on the dashboard. It's unclear why they did this, whether they felt they wanted to make it more like Tesla, or is it because the cost of building these things went up because they're building them in Wolfsburg. Who knows? But it is a major problem for the vehicle. I think they will be redoing it in the not so distant future. I really do. I think they have to. It drives great. I think it looks fine. I'm okay with the looks. It's lower. It feels very sporty. The interior quality is okay, I think. By the way, it has a spare tire, which I like. I always call that out.
Okay, they get points for that.
They even took the VW logo off the engine cover, so there was cost cutting. I feel that's due to the fact that they're building it in Wolfsburg, and the cost of labor is higher than Mexico, from where the Mark 7 and the 7.5 were built. Now it's built in Wolfsburg, and that's higher. I love the rear exhaust, the big 2 pipes out the back. It sounds great. It drives great. But frankly, it is a no-go because of the interior. The interior is a disaster. That's what I would call it, and it has to be fixed. So let's take a look at the numbers on the vehicle. As equipped, ours had the Autobahn edition, which brings in leather seats and some other goodies. You can't get the scale paper plaid seats. I think they should somehow be able to get those in the top of the range Autobahn, maybe as an insert in the leather seat, because that to me says golf. It really does. You don't even get the golf ball shifter anymore. It's some kind of weird shaped shifter. Of course, the Autobahn version brings in 19-inch wheels and a few other things. All get the same engine, the 241 horsepower engine. Great mileage, 34 highway, 24 city, 28 combined. The total out the door price with this Autobahn edition, $38,990. So it's not inexpensive, but guys, you have to do an emergency redo on this interior. The system is just terrible. It was an annoyance every time I drove the car. It made me disappointed because I was really looking forward to this vehicle. It's gorgeous looking, Atlantic blue, metallic exterior, the red rotors. As I say, everything was great about it. No torque steer whatsoever. Great vehicle, other than the interior. So
amazing.
I would say it really needs to be redone. But hey, it's time for me to say I'm Fred Staub.
I'm Les Jackson.
We are going to see you down the road.
Bye.